I have two projects that we could pursue today. I'm going to tell you very short about them. One of them is a PowerShell script that claims there's a missing curly brace, but there isn't. It's there. I mean, all the closing curly braces are there. The other one is a project where I have a client who says there's music playing
DougBot said, "Hey, is this thing
on his computer every night. Not every night, some nights for about 40 seconds, he says, is music. So what I have in mind to do for that is to create a configuration in Procmon, process monitor, to look only for audio things, to filter for only audio things so we can capture what is actually causing that. But the highest priority, as you should well know by now, is anybody actually having problems with their Windows-based computer. Windows-based? Is there any other way to have a Windows computer? Actually having trouble with their Windows computer or a computer that they're working on for a client or a friend, asking for a friend. Who does that remind you of? Those questions take priority. I do not have any emails or any comments asking for such questions. So this is the time to ask your question in chat if you have something for us. Otherwise, I'll listen to what you asked for in the chat as far as whether you're interested in one of those two situations more than the other. So with that off my chest. Oh, another little tidbit is that I might start doing some members only videos for a specific purpose, a specific reason. They will not be videos that could be public. I wouldn't want to make them public. Basically, it's about the work that I'm doing to overhaul the channel and the things that I'm intending to do or thinking about doing. And for those people who want to have a little bit of input on that, that would be a place for you to be able to do that. Okay, so I'm back to my normal setup where I have OBS right in front of me. That did not work well last week. Ken says I started early. No. To Scott, he's LOL start early. I don't know what he's up with. He never makes sense to me. But let's say hello, Parker Morse. Oh, yes, I saw this earlier. Hi, Doug and Chad. Here's a link to removed and unresolved issues to remove any unresolved issues, I think is what he's trying to say there. Windows 11 updates. This is just the thing that's there every month. Or actually, it's there every day, telling about things. And I did scroll through those a little bit, and there is one in there that could potentially have affected me. I don't think it did. I think at this one here, stuttering, severe stuttering and lag, and could include OBS. You have seen severe stuttering on my camera during some of my earliest, the first or second StreamYard collaborations with Carrie Holzman, where it was just very jittery. And I tested a different camera I bought from Amazon, did not like it because it had that stuttering effect. I don't think it was due to this one though. But anyway, so I think I don't know if it was if it was Parker's intention to specifically say, hey, there's a problem people should care about. I didn't see anything there that would be widespread. That's always out there. Thank you, Parker. And that was a contribution to the tech part of the show. Oh, I can't. He hasn't commented recently. So in order to get him, I have to do this. See if this will work. If I can give him a
Read chat,
let's
please.
give him a 200 for that. Here's a read chat. What is this? Go to the October 2024 volume issue. Okay, so there is something there he thought is worthy. Yeah, if you don't tell me, I don't know. October 2024 volume issue. October? This is August. Oh, October. Known issues. October. 2024. Oh, that's a year old. Camera might cause some applications to become unresponsive. Why are you bringing that up now? That's old. That's resolved. Why are you bringing that up? I don't get it. You need more words. Use your words. I don't know why you think that's worthy of mentioning now. Hello, Chris Garrett, Scott, Parker Morse. Oh, did that credit work for him? Add points. Yes, it did. Since he wasn't in the active list, that's why I typed the @ symbol and then the first few letters of his name. He didn't show up because it had been too long since he had chattered. Chattered? Is that the past tense of chat? Hello, Scott and Williams Office 2095. I think, yeah, that's obviously William, who's been around for a while. I think he changed his name. I don't remember seeing the name that way. Hello, Rick Lakes, Daniel Pert, Jeff Raymond, Zvi Menor, Ran Israel, Selden Ball, there's Ken Stout saying absolutely nothing. Ken Stout comes in. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk. No. He thinks he can escape my ridicule by not talking. David Graham. There's Ken talking to Scott. Reminds me of KSL. I don't know what's up. I'm not going to try to figure out all those. And then there's Tim Cruz. Frosty Winnipeg. We've had some rain here recently. So I'm stuck with him because it's raining. If it weren't raining, he wouldn't be here. David Graham, I think Windows should just be called, get out of here. Just be called Windows What Do You Think? Oh, okay. I thought he was saying Windows should be called Windows What Do You Think? That's kind of a long name. Are you having any problems with your Windows What Do You Think computer? That would be difficult. I think what he meant, I think Windows should just be called Windows, meaning not Windows 11, not Windows 10. So how do we differentiate? So I ask a client, which version of Windows are you using?
Please.
And they answer Windows, because that's what it's called, Windows. Well, is it Windows 10 or Windows 11? It's Windows. That's what it's called. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to work. Good day to you as well, Tim, Scott, John. We are the tech community. Doman 2000, hello, good to see you. One big happy family, Ken Stout to Scott, joined an hour ago. Just busy working on my own members only that I have to limit to just a few for a specific reason. It deals with watch hours. For a few because he's trying to test something. All right, I'm doing the auto scroll. I have a blue highlighted, right?
Read chat, please.
I don't know. Ken says, yes, testing a theory. How was that last read chat? No, I lost my blue. So where was I? There. Now, auto scroll. Got a new phone for Tim. No tech comments. John Williams says, very good to see you, Doug. Thank you. Good to see you, John.
Read chat, please.
David Graham, I think if Windows stuck with the Windows naming, then most of the hate stuff would never happen, like 10 versus 11. So basically you're saying they should never change it. How do you deal with versions? You mean they should never change it? Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Okay, Parker, I see where you're trying to direct me to, so we'll go look at that. Let me rip through a few more names. John Downey. I think I've got a bit. Greg M. I think that was the first I saw him. I'm not trying to read what is being said anymore. See the issue regarding volume affected Intel SSD. Did you give me something I can actually search for? Well, maybe, yeah, so it probably is in there as November 10th, right? And you want me to look all the way through it trying to find that. You got to give me something I can search for. Maybe this one will do it. All right, Intel SSD. And he said, let's see, that's October 1st. No, he wants November 10th, 2024. Let's try 2024-11-10. Doesn't work that way. November 10th, 2024. Doesn't work that way. That's September, so October. No, that's September 2025. October 1st. He says November 10th. So that's not it. Go to the next one. I don't see any November 10th there. No, you're still not giving me a way to find what you're interested in. Come on, try again. Jesse says he's interested in the first issue regarding the curly brace and PowerShell script you mentioned. I'll give you a quick little more about that. And here's when I ran that script last, and then let me give you, let's see, where is it? There it is. Here. So these two windows. Here's the script on the left, and this window on the right is when I run it now. Here's what I get, telling me that line 72, character 36, which
Read
is
chat,
right
please.
here. Okay, Parker, I see. October 1st is correct. I misunderstood how they were doing the date. Okay, we'll go back to that in a minute. Stay on this for now. But here's that line number and character right here, 7236. So when I click on it down here in the bottom, you can see line 72, column 36. What it says about it, it's a for each command. Yeah, here you see it's a for each. Missing closing curly brace in statement block or type definition. Category information, parser error, fully qualified error ID missing, and curly brace. So there's an open curly brace right there. And it's this one right here. So here's one open curly brace. And let's see, I'll do this. One open curly brace. So that curly brace is still open. Here's a second open curly brace. Looking for the next curly brace. There's a third open curly brace. Continuing on, there's a closing curly brace, so I'm going to remove a finger. And then here's an open curly brace, so we're back up to 3 open curly braces. And then here's a closing, so I'll take a finger away. Here's another closing, I'll take another finger away. Here's an opening, I'll give a finger back. And then here's a closing, I'll close that. And then here's the last closing brace. There's all curly braces have been closed. So what's up? There are some ideas I have in mind to troubleshoot that further, but I came across this yesterday. I did not need to go through it. Did not need to get it resolved right away. And there's actually a workaround I can do from this, but this I just found really intriguing. Now, this is a script that I created with a Copilot, the new GPT-5
Read
Copilot,
chat, please.
and it was working. The script was working until the last change that I asked it for, and that broke it. So this is a homegrown script. It's not somebody else's script. I'm going to go check that read chat message. Can you open the script in ISE? PowerShell ISE is the integrated scripting environment that has color coding. I think I just inadvertently did that this morning, but I have not spent any time with it. So that may be the direction that we go with it. Load the script into PowerShell ISE. It'll point you to the problem, or I'll point you to the problem. I was suspecting that's where we should be able to find it, and I have not gone there yet. I figured it sounds like a good thing for us to use for the show. So now I had a strange thing happening when I go try to right click. When I right click in File Explorer this morning, when it worked, the one time that it worked, edit was one of the options. Now I'm going to try right clicking here, because every attempt after that, right click just does not bring up the context menu at all. It will do it on Baby Beast. And actually, when it worked this morning, I just tapped harder on it. Now, if I come down here to the taskbar and right click on things, the context menu does come up. So the right mouse button is working. It's just not working here. If I go into a blank area and do right, no, it's not working there either. And I tried my other mouse. So I don't know what's going on with that. And my first suspicion is this is just another anomaly that I'm having with this operating system
Read
on
chat,
Big
please.
Beast. Save the script locally. Don't run it from OneDrive. I was running it locally when I originally encountered the problem. So that wasn't it. But I can do that. Let's see if I just I did it on OneDrive because I was actually connected remotely to a client's computer running it on their computer. So then I downloaded it to Baby Beast and then put it in OneDrive because that's an easy way to get it to Big Beast. Here I'm trying a Control-C. I'm going to take that off screen because I'm trying to do better about accidentally exposing things I shouldn't auto. I got another video taken down by YouTube, a 3-year-old video, because I, on a few occasions during that 6-minute video, accidentally displayed my contacts screen. They called that bullying and harassment. And that was also a convenient place to. Now I don't get a right click. I can't even left click on new. It's File Explorer is messing up. Okay, can I show this? Yeah. So if I bring this up and I'm trying to left click on new, the menu won't drop down. You can see it reacting. That's a left click. Right click over here, trying to create a new folder, does not work. I could almost. I'm going to pick a folder. Pick a folder, any folder. No, not any folder. I want to pick a folder that is not a system folder. How about this? Temp folder. Okay, here I'm on the temp folder. I can't right click and paste. I'm going to try Control V for paste, see if that shows up. Did not. That last restart Windows Explorer and Task Manager. Yeah, that's a reasonable thing. Now that's going to close a bunch of windows. That's going to close all of my Explorer windows. Then I got to go find them again. Let's consider. I can't. Oh, here I can bring those up. Can I? All right, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. Control Shift Escape. And I think I can go right click on it and choose restart, but I think I can actually type explorer.exe in there too. Let's try here. Can I restart from there? That doesn't, whoops, it went away. Windows Explorer. Yeah. All right, let's try that there. That closes all my Explorer windows. But that doesn't actually close the whole computer. The desktop Explorer, but maybe we don't need that. And then I'm going to try going back to that folder for today's show and then try a right click here. Ah, there we go. And that's not the same edit. There was an edit option right up here at the top that took me into, I think, what you guys are talking about. Do copy. And then just to be compliant,
please.
I'll come over here to temp. That last read chat was Shift right click. Shift right click. That's run. Oh, here it is. Edit. Yeah, that's probably what I probably did a shift right click. Yeah, because that goes right into the environment that you're asking for, I think, which I have not messed around in here at all. Line, what was it? 7236. I was going to say 72. Yeah, sure you were, Doug. 7236. Now, does this somehow pair them for us? There's closing curly brackets in purple, but this section down here is purple. There should be a way for it to tell me where the paired curly bracket is, isn't there? So I'm looking for somebody to give me more guidance on that.
Read chat, please.
Missing a bracket, start clicking the minus signs. Ah. Okay, so line 72, here's minus signs. Okay, so I see that minus sign. You see that gray shaded area indicating the beginning, I guess, of the curly bracket, curly brace.
Read chat, please.
I'm thinking that the AI did something wrong around this right log area. Curly brace goes to 72, line 72, and into that function. Yeah, there's no minus sign, so it's like, oh, is there a missing space right there? Is that supposed to be a space between the R and the E? I don't remember. I think there's some other for eaches in here. I'll try putting a space there and see what happens.
Read chat, please.
Yeah, it seems like there should be that all should be identified as a section. Let's see, there was Jesse Kirk had a read chat, curly brace, goes to line 72, into that function, goes to missing closing curly brace in blocker type definition. Okay, I got to float the mouse right over that curly brace. So yeah, it is complaining about that. And it seems to me that this minus sign here, this if statement is
Read chat, please.
is supposed to be included within this for each command, because it's going to be for each of these things, then if such and such. So this should these something's wrong there. All right. Ran Israel. No, there's an orphan bracket at end of line 72. Isn't that an open curly brace that gets closed? I counted the 5 closing curly braces, but somehow it's identifying this as a new function or new segment, and this is not part of this. I don't want to just add a random closing curly brace, because I think the script was intended to be closing the curly braces down here, because there are 5 closing curly braces, but I think there's something wrong with the syntax in here somewhere. I understand all along that the error message originally told me that that's the problem right there. It's missing a closing curly brace. So saying that again doesn't get me a solution. Wintermute says extra quote on line 90, question mark. Right log, drive already mapped to target. Then there's a quote there and a quote there. There appears to be 3 quotes in there. That seems to be, yeah, that doesn't seem right. Here's a write
Read
log.
chat, please.
Here's a write log command in the way that it should show. And then there's this write log command. This part, no change and a quote symbol, that seems like it doesn't belong there
Read
at
chat,
all.
please.
Okay, my next read chat, I'm going past Rand. See, I'm looking at the read chats, and when somebody says something informational and doesn't do a read chat command, I'm skipping over it. But I noticed Wintermute had that extra quote on line 90. Somebody talking about teams. Jesse Kirk. Remove the curly brace at line 92. I think Rand is correct. At line 92, remove that? No, I don't think so. We need an additional closing curly brace. We don't need to remove a closing curly brace. I think removing that quote and this whole bit right here, the no change, I can't even highlight it by itself. Jesse says remove a curly brace. Do you mean the quote? Because that's what Wintermute said. Now Rand said there's an orphan bracket at the end of line 72. We can't remove that. Jesse says remove it at 92. No, I don't see that as making any sense. And Wintermute said see line 90. Should be single quotes around target. Single quotes around target. You mean the word target? Why that? This is just a writing the
chat,
statement to
please.
the log file. It's just making an entry on a text log file. You see how it is up here, mapping drive to target. I would think it needs to be pretty similar, like a quote right at the end of that. Maybe that's what you were saying. Should be single quote at the end of target. So it's very similar to this one. And I'm thinking all of this here needs to go. Now, how's that going to fix its failure to interpret the closing curly brace? It might, because whatever this AE thing is there, that weird thing might be a problem. Try removing the closing bracket on line 88 was what Rand said. Closing bracket on line 88.
Read chat,
I don't
please.
understand why you want to remove a curly brace. We're missing a closing curly brace. Can you paste the source code online somewhere so I can open in my editor? He's saying too cumbersome. Sure. I'll just put it into my... Well, let me just do this piece here, because this is the most sensible thing that I'm seeing. I'm just going to delete that. Will it delete? There. Does that do anything? Need a quote at the end of that. Yeah, see there? Now we've got this at the beginning of this line. There's this line 72. This function is showing where it's supposed to be now. And when I float the mouse over this, I don't get any kind of objection. And that looks a whole lot more sensible. Let me see if that fixes it. Rand says, no, it's another matter. Yeah, well, let's see. Come over here and
Read
up
chat,
arrow
please.
to run it again. And yeah, it is saying something else. Did I get that saved at the right place? I did. No, I didn't, because I was running it from a different location. Rand says, okay, try it now. That looks better. Oh, so now you're saying it's not a different situation. See, I edited that over here. We see the current time. So I'm going to put it back into the location where I want it to live at. And we'll close this. And let's see, not there. Oh, that's right. All of those windows closed. Okay, maybe we'll do it this way. C:\temp. We'll come up here and just edit this. C:\temp. That'll do it. So got an error message, but it's different. Write log, no mapping changes detected. There's that weird AE thing. Explorer restart skipped. That's okay. That's expected. But it's read 106.73 because there's something it doesn't like. Missing character. Okay, that's probably a write log command that's got a mistake. Shift, right click, edit.
Read chat, please.
You can run it directly from my SE play button. Okay, thank you. Did not know. Like I said, I've never used it before. 106. Did I catch all the read chats? I think. Okay. And what we're looking for is 106.73. Oh, way down here. 2. 106. Said the character number down here in the bottom right. No mapping changes detected. The string is missing the terminator. Okay, missing a. What is missing? Explorer restarts. Get no mapping changes detected. Let's write log.
Read chat, please.
This part right here looks like the bad part to me. Yeah. That last read chat, same 3 buggy characters in the middle of line 106. Yeah. So it wasn't the position that the error message told us, which, yeah, that happens. And then run it from here, here probably. But I don't get to see it. No, I do. There it is. Okay, now what? The network name cannot be found. That's expected because I'm not on the network right now that this is designed to run from. That's quite okay. Now, actually, what I was the way I was running it over here is I was something about this command. Maybe it was the bypass. Is just supposed to interpret it, just supposed to examine the script, not actually perform it. I don't expect the script to run right because it's trying to map drive letters that to shares that don't exist here on my network. So this net use of a drive and a target, that's just not going to work here. But that got me past the point that I don't want to say stuck at because I would have got there, but coming in here and using this with some people on hand that are experienced with it was a good thing. I think that's probably covered. It's being interpreted okay, and it actually ran. So the first part of, as I understand, a PowerShell script running is PowerShell will evaluate it, essentially a runtime compiling, interpreted language, I think it might be called. Hello, Steve Dodd. And it looks like it completed that successfully, and it tried to actually run the script. And it fails here because I don't have those shares. Rand Israel says, same 3 buggy characters in middle of line 106. Oh, yeah, I already got that one.
Read chat, please.
That's not new. Waiting for that read chat to come up. I heard it before it shows up on my screen. Wait, there it goes. Execution policy bypass is a parameter that grants you the permission to run the script. The default Windows 10 11 is PS scripting disabled. Okay, so that is not the variation that was for just evaluating it. That might have been a while ago that I did that, but I think that's a solved. So let's hand out some points. And Israel had a lot of participation in that. Let's see who all also. I think Zavi had a little bit of participation in that. Who else? If I'm forgetting your name, speak up. I know what I can do. Oh yeah, I want to get back to that thing for Parker. October 1st is the one. That was ran. CV. Oh, that's right. The V was for the Explorer issue and the right click problem. Jesse Kurt, curly brace goes to line 72 at the end of that function. Yeah, I don't think you were right on that, but you were
Read chat,
participating.
please.
So let's get
Read
you some
chat,
points
please.
too. You, let's see. So that last, let me catch up to it in a moment. I don't need it right now. How to go back to the first one? Come on. David, oh, that's a curly brace. Oop, that's not the one. Yeah, those minus signs, that was a good pointer. And winter mute. It went back again to the beginning. Oh, my plans for the new structure for this channel is gonna eliminate this, among other things. Next time, !C, you have to choose the right Windows Explorer in the bottom of Task Manager. Ah, yeah, that would, in the bottom of Task Manager, if I go all the way down to the bottom and look for Windows Explorer down here, and this I've found difficult to find. Service, is it Service Host
chat,
Windows
please.
Explorer? Maybe live chat view instead of top chat will show the new messages faster. That's in OBS. I'll switch OBS from top chat to live chat and see if that makes a difference. That's not their documented definition of the words, but it might result in that. So why am I not seeing? I think it's called Explorer in this section, not Windows Explorer, but I've never memorized where it falls in this list alphabetically. And it seems to me in the past, oh, here it is, Windows Explorer. So under Windows Processes, Windows Explorer, right click on this, I think closes a lot of stuff. Let's try that on Baby Beast. See how much gets closed. Here's Baby Beast. Control Shift Escape. Sort by name column. That's background processes. We want Windows processes. So go down further. Windows processes. And then Windows Explorer. Okay, there's Windows Explorer. I got two of them. Is that the one? And restart? Why do I got two of them? If I restart that, then restart the other one, does that cause, yeah, the taskbar at the bottom went away. My browser stayed open. Oh, my other program stayed open. All right, that's good. So it just closes the Windows Explorer stuff. So if I open a bunch of folders here, take that off screen because I don't know what it's going to default open to. And let's open some things. Just two of them. Oh, see, there's some client stuff. And okay, so here's back to Baby Beast. And there's two File Explorer windows open. Control Shift Escape. And here's Windows Explorer. And this is down in that Windows Services section, whatever it's called. If I do restart here, I believe that'll close both of those. Will it? Oh, it didn't. No, but it did restart task bar. Okay, so that's even better. It does. We don't lose anything. Back up at the top. Come on. Come up here and stay up here, will you? If I do this one, restart that, because that's the actual File Explorer that's open. Okay, good, good. That was useful to get that nailed down. All right. Which means I should be able to do that on Big Beast without any untoward consequences. Oh, I see. This is in reverse alphabetical order. That's why it's up at the top. If I flip-flop the alphabetical order, then it's going to be down at the end of the alphabet. Duh. So restart that, and down at the bottom, we should see taskbar refresh. I don't know if you'll see that or not over the video, over the live stream. All the windows stayed open, then taskbar should come back. There it is. Took longer on Big Beast than Baby Beast. Thank you, Zvi. That was very helpful. I'm glad to have that one answered and clarified in my mind. So 3 points at Zvi. Then the other subject is process monitor, configuring it to be able to capture and identify where sounds are coming from in the middle of the night for a client of mine. Sometimes it happens.
Read chat, please.
I've been through that, Jim. Mouse battery dies and you think the whole computer's locked up. Marsman, thanks. You just answered questions I was going to ask in Task Manager. Good, good. And thanks for letting me know. And that will earn you points. Whoops. Did I hit enter? Yeah, there. Yeah, letting me know that something specifically helped you or answered something for you. I will give points for that. Jim hits me with, does this guy know what he's doing? My eyes kind of scan over some messages and I kind of quickly figure it's not for me. So if you don't specifically direct my attention, and you are trying to say something to me, that's what's going on. Okay, so the other issue. My client says at nighttime, randomly, different times, music will come out of his computer speakers. Now, this is the new, this is the computer that fried, the one that got so hot last week on my desk. I think that was last week. And we had already bought a replacement computer for him. I installed that computer. And then he texted me back. In fact, I'm going to see if I can read the text for you. I think it's worthwhile reading the precise way he said it, because a lot of times people, including myself, will misquote something. And when you go back and look at the original, you realize, oh, that's not actually what he said. So we've had some messages back and forth. No, that's March. What did I miss? Check the music. Etude. Music came on. Oh, you know what? I bet he started this on email. And then it switched over to text. Oh, that's right. His email address has nothing to do with his name. No, it's not there. Oh, okay. Maybe it was a voice message, because I know it wasn't a voice conversation. So he probably left me a voice message. There. And I always pause on this because sometimes I think I'm going to listen to a voice message and it actually calls him. And that's because I'm looking, there's calling him. I'm trying to get to the voice message. Oh, I went back in recent. That wasn't voicemail. Oh boy, he's going to call back, isn't he? Because the voicemail screen looks just like the recent call screen. And I find his name. If I press on his name, I'll see the translation of the voice message he left. But if I'm looking on the recent calls, it'll just call him or whomever. So now I'm on voicemail. There we go. That's not the first one. Okay, here we go. It's Saturday the 30th, he says. No, that was a mistranslation. That was a mistranscription. Yeah, so I'm going to skip over some of these things that are just mistranslations. Oh, no, that's when he was telling me the computer wouldn't turn on. Come on, Jim. Does this guy know what he's doing? It's time for it. All right. This must be it. It kind of, I guess what it is, it cut off the first couple sentences. I remember that now. I'll just have time to get up and get out of bed and walk over. I was wondering if you heard of that, or if there's some button that needs to be turned off. I don't know anyway. Give me a call when you get a chance. So I have to tell you what he said. He says it's music that plays 40 seconds. And I asked him after that about this music, because I said it could it just be the Windows chime when the computer's turning on. He says, no, it's music. I know music. I play music. I know what music is. Okay. So it's music. That means that there's multiple instruments and there's no vocals, right? And then he goes, I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm paraphrasing his response, but yeah, no. What is music? I mean, it's giving me the impression that it's actual songs that would come over a radio. And he said somewhere along in there that it was happening on the old computer. And he says, I just never got around to telling you about it. So it was happening on the old computer, happening on the new computer. So I asked him, was it happening when I had the computer and you didn't have a computer at all? And he said, no, but you know how you can tell when you listen to the tone of somebody's voice? Yeah, I don't know. The position of his bedroom, and then there's this alcove where his computer's at, and then there's the sidewalk outside. Could somebody be walking by playing music and he thinks it's coming from the computer? Maybe. Maybe. We don't know, Greg M., that this includes vocals. He has not answered that. But I thought it would be interesting just to figure out how to get process monitor to capture only sound items. So in that regard, I have something I've already begun with it. I got to get it right to the right AI. I've got like 3, 4 of them around here. And I'm active on all of them. So I got this in Windows Copilot. Now, interesting, Windows Copilot and Microsoft Edge Copilot are the same Copilot, but they're different. If you launch it, let me just demonstrate this, because this is a weird thing. This is my new favorite. Last week, I know I had a different new favorite. Okay, that last read chat, I'm waiting for it to come up in OBS. So no, that was not faster. Greg, is this computer in sleep mode at night or it's powered on or off? It's on. I have, it's a mini computer, and I told him these computers are designed to stay on all the time. And that's what I want you to do. And he's confirmed that it's on, it's not sleep or powered off. And I could check up on that by checking to see if it's available to connect for me to connect to remotely in the middle of the night, because I'm often up in the middle of the night. I could easily do that. Haven't done it yet. So let's see. Here is Copilot launched from the taskbar down at the bottom. So let me point out these conversations: safe deletion, office migration, upgrading to Windows. Okay, kind of remember that. And then I'm going to bring up Edge and launch Copilot from there, because it's the same, but it's different. What? Okay, so here's Edge. If I come over here to Copilot, here I get this panel here. I'm gonna make it wider so it's easier to see. Notice I don't see any of my past chats, but I can come up here to the 3-dot menu in the right and choose My Conversations. Now we get the same panel on the left side: Office migration, safe deletion, upgrading. Those are the same things. If I Alt-Tab over here, safe deletion, office migration, upgrading. Now, those are actually in a different order, aren't they? Yeah, they're in a different order. And notice also this one launched from Edge shows me today, yesterday, Thursday, Tuesday, Monday. But when you launch it from the taskbar, no, it says, gives me yesterday and it gives me previous week, different categories. Now let me show you something here. If I click on the 3-dot menu next to one of these topics, I can rename it or I can delete it. That was office migration. If I do that over here, office migration, 3-dot, I can share it or delete it. I cannot rename it, but I can share it. There's no way to rename it when you're launching from Edge, but you can share. Over here, when you launch from Windows taskbar, there's no way to share it, but you can rename it. I've been through all these other buttons. I haven't found any place to share it. Also, when you do Control F find, I just tried Control F find. It's not responsive. I cannot search within Copilot launched from taskbar. Launched from Edge, I can Control F find. Now I got to test it to make sure. MESSAGING, messaging. It's not finding this occurrence of the word messaging here. So that's been a weird thing. Let's try Control F here. And then the word here. No, doesn't find that. Because that Control F in the browser is trying to search on the website that you're on, I think, is the reason for it. So these, and I've thought, should I make a video showing how these things work? And I say no, because they seem to change every week. Now, let me show you the other thing about that I like about Copilot, the reason why I came back to it. I don't want to use this quick response. Come down here and change it to Smart GPT-5. Smart GPT-5 is a new thing. And it will automatically, by its discretion, do deeper research when it senses that your question needs deeper research.
Read
And
chat, please.
this is running much faster than the other AIs at this point in time. Okay. Oh, Martin Hogg, are you coming up with an actual issue? Yeehaw, let's go. I didn't actually get into further what I have in Copilot about that sound issue, but you know, I've been telling you, somebody's actually having an issue that takes priority. If I'm between topics, Martin Hogg, I have a Lenovo IdeaPad 3 that randomly shuts down screen, but PC is definitely on. No pattern to fault. I mean, by that, I think you mean there's no sequence of events that consistently seems to precede this. Updated drivers, I assume that means you have updated drivers, including optional drivers. You've gone to look to see if there's any optional drivers to install, not just the ones that it's telling you should install. Fault on Windows 10 and Windows 11 upgrade. Fault. I guess you mean that it was happening under Windows 10 and now it's happening also on Windows 11. Not heat related. I assume you say that because you've looked at hardware monitor and found that it's not doing any thermal throttling. Or other monitor. Other monitor. I'm not sure what other monitor means. No, meaning if you connect an external monitor, does it also shut down? So this screen that it shuts down, that's the built-in laptop screen, not an external monitor, correct? Now you say the PC is definitely on. How are you judging that? I'm going to guess that you're judging that because the power light is on. Maybe you press the you press the caps lock key and the caps lock light turns on or off. Or you do the same thing with num locks and it turns on and off, or scroll lock turns on and off, meaning you see some responsiveness from the keyboard. It is not sufficient to just say the power light's still on. That does not mean the CPU is still responsive. You could set up a remote connection capability to where you could connect remotely from a different computer. And when the screen goes dark, see if the other computer can connect remotely at that point in time. Now, let's go see what that read chat was. Jim, if you shine a light onto the screen, can you see anything? If so, backlight is probably dying. That's a good point, because the image, by shining a light on it, you might actually see your mouse moving around. But it's that the backlight is having trouble and it is randomly turning off. Now, if that's the case, an external monitor should still function. Jim's asking, does the external monitor function? We haven't got that response yet. We don't know that, because I don't know what this comment means, where it says other monitor. Does that mean an external monitor is still on, or that it also shuts off? No idea what that means. But that's a whole bunch of stuff thrown at him at once. He might be experimenting right now. And let's give him some points for just asking a question.
Read
Yeah,
chat, please.
that gets as much points as somebody who answers a question. Savi, what did you end up doing with the computer you wanted to upgrade from 10 to 11 with special software? Oh, I think that was the computer that a client has. Yeah, it must be, because Savi actually asked what the software was. They had American Contractor, which is discontinued a long time ago, maybe 2000, year 2000. I did complete that upgrade. We actually did work on that, some intermediate work on that last week, didn't we? Where I made it, yeah, because we were doing the MBR to GPT business. So I got that on the new computer, took it out to the client, installed it, had her test it while I was there. And that was 2-3 days ago. She's been through a payroll since then, and she's thrilled with it. She is absolutely thrilled with it. Let me give you her message. I'm very much loving cloning a computer to one of these low-end B-Link computers. I'm not, that computer that overheated, I'm pretty well convinced that was a design flaw, because they no longer sell that model. The replacement for that model is a bit larger, and it does not have the vents on the top. It has the vents only on the bottom. So I'm suspecting it was a design flaw. Let's see, who was that? Oh yeah, I think this was a text message, because this is the kind of message you just love to get. Oh, by the way, thank you so much. Oh, for having sound in the new computer. I was able to wirelessly hook up my little speaker to the new computer and stream music straight from it. That's not the comment I was looking for. Oh, here it is. Now, this was the B-Link N95, whatever, the S12. It's
Go
the
to chat, please.
under $200 computer. I will answer that in a moment, but here's what she said. Hi, Doug. Yes, the computer is lightning fast now. The only thing I realized in the Zscaler, yeah, she's missing some files that we have since. Yeah, but that's it. The computer is lightning fast now. When I was there with her, I asked, does it feel faster to you? And she says, well, maybe, yeah. And then, but she texted back later and says, lightning fast. Very, very happy. That's been very consistent. Greg M., how long had the melted PC been in service? That was about 1.5 years. And his wife has the same model, and I looked at it, and it seems to be doing fine. He was not really upset about that whole thing, which I was kind of surprised about. I was bracing for a harsh conversation. Oh, here's Martin. Let's see. Was there anything else I needed to catch first? Yeah, so we did that upgrade. Seems like there might be more comments to make about that. Correct. PC responds normally to keyboard, meaning the caps lock and the num lock and the scroll lock, or at least one of those it responds to. External monitor mirrors the fault. So an external monitor has the same problem. which means it's not the backlight, because the backlight should only affect the built-in screen. Fans work normally, shuts down normally. So this makes me think when you lose video, when you can no longer see video, you are able to shut it down. Now, you might have the power button configured to perform a normal shutdown, or maybe you're using keystrokes to accomplish a shutdown blind, where you can't see the screen. Because that's a thing, you can do it. Just learn what the keystrokes are for your computer. Could be some differences from one computer to another, but mostly consistent. Definitely difference from different operating systems, and maybe different feature updates. Meaning 23H2 could work different than 24H2. I haven't checked on it. Seems to be a common fault according to Google. I assume you mean a common fault for your model computer. Okay, so let's do a couple things here. Triple click, highlight that whole thing. Escape wants to get, I want to get rid of that. Okay, get rid of that. Now Control C, and then go up to his previous 1, 2, 3. Control C, and then Alt Tab. I'm going to go to the Edge version and come up here to the pencil in the upper left. Now remember, I have this thing spread out wider. Normally just shows in the right panel. Start a new chat. Windows key V, and then Windows key V again. And I'm not going to correct that, the conversation was addressed to Doug. Now I've got it set on Smart GPT-5. So if it thinks it needs to do some research, it'll do that. Okay, now I'm going to just go ask it something else. I have heard that this is a common problem people have reported. Can you validate that by searching for that issue on the internet? Yes, there's evidence online. So here's, Lenovo IdeaPad and Lenovo's own support documentation, multiple community threads, YouTube troubleshooting guide. I can dig deeper into user forums. Would you like me to do that? I'll just say yes, just to demonstrate how this AI, I'm really loving it, and it's pretty fast. The other AIs that would go out and do searches on the web, they were never this fast. So here's some other things. Now, how about in terms of what to do? External display points away from the panel itself towards something the GPU display pipeline that affects both outputs at once. There would be software that you might have, drivers that you might have, video utilities. Is this AMD? Because AMD has other components related to video. Disable panel self-refresh and modern standby. In Device Manager, display adapters, properties, power management, uncheck. Allow the computer to turn off this device options. In advanced power settings, set turn off this display to never. Yeah, do you have any power saving features turned on? Is the symptom different when you're on battery power as opposed to electrical? That last read chat is Doman 2000 saying, thinking display driver, when it happens again, can try reset the display driver with Windows Control Shift B. Very good idea. Outstanding idea. Let's go just hit you some points right away on that, Doman. And I'm going to demonstrate it. Doman 2000. Let's see. You might see inconsistencies with the amount of points here and there, but so it's Control Shift Alt B, right? Windows Control Shift B. Windows Control Shift B. So not the Alt key. I always struggle to remember that. And when I do that on Big Beast Build, you're gonna see everything go black. I think you'll see that. You know what? I want to see that. I'm gonna bring that up on Baby Beast. I don't have the show playing on Baby Beast currently. And mute it. And it's live. So here, Windows Control Shift B in 3, 2, 1, 0. Now what? Well, oh, it's still flashing. There was a flash on that monitor, then that monitor, then this monitor, then they all went black, and then they came back on, and this one came on, and all kinds of things went crazy there. Let's see, I didn't watch to see what happened on Baby Beast. I don't know, did you see that at all? And fast forward on that to see if I can see what happened when I hit that key. There, it looks like I'm pulling up Baby Beast. Here's what I'm looking at. Trying to recognize when that happens. Yeah, okay, so there goes black. And did you only see one black? Yeah, you only saw one black. That last read chat. GPU may be failing or overheating. Clean the fans in the laptop. He's already said it's not a heating problem, but we don't know why he says that. If your computer's overheating, you might not feel it because it might be thermal throttling before it gets hot enough for you to perceive that it's overheated. So if you're just judging that it's not overheated because it doesn't feel very hot, that doesn't cut it. When the computer's reaching a certain level of heat, it'll throttle itself, and it might never be getting hot enough for you to decide that it's overheating. So it's not quite enough that you just say that it's not a heat problem. We would be doing you a disservice to just accept that. I'll get to that one in a minute. If disconnect power and hold power button for 40, 50 seconds, then reconnect power and start, it will boot and display normally for a short period. Oh, this is a consistent problem. This isn't just a sometimes thing. When Control Shift B doesn't work, but thanks. So this is a quick problem. That is sounding possibly like heat. Disconnect power, hold power button. So that's how you're shutting it down. That's not a normal shutdown. Not at all. And you're saying that the computer is still functional. I don't accept that. The caps lock and the num lock and the scroll lock keys itself, those responsive tells you the CPU is responding to the keyboard. That doesn't tell you that the CPU is responding to everything of the computer. You should be able, when the computer's on, go through the keyboard sequence for shutdown. So I'll demonstrate that here. Windows key by pressing the Windows key on the keyboard. And then we got to get to that power icon. I think that's going to be, let's try Shift Tab. Once, twice on Shift Tab. and then enter. So you got to keep track of these keystrokes, and then down arrow 4 times, 1, 2, 3, down arrow 3 times, excuse me, and then press enter. Now I'm not going to do it now because then there's going to be some other key presses. So you got to make yourself a list of each key press to see if you can perform a proper normal shutdown when it is in this condition. You have to learn what those keystrokes are for you to get there. You can't do it with a mouse. But holding the power button down is not, for that long, that is a forced shutdown. That is not a proper shutdown. That does not tell us that the CPU is responsive. Sorry needs, not sure what that means. Oh, not overheating. Not overheating as fan does not speed up. I don't know. I don't quite accept that. I don't accept that as the sole judge of whether it's overheating. Let's suppose the fan is failing to speed up because there's something wrong with it. If there's something wrong with your fan, preventing it from speeding up, that might be the source of the trouble. That there's nothing else wrong with the computer. It's just that the fan doesn't speed up when the computer needs it. Therefore, it's overheating and it's throttling and it shuts the graphics down because that is generating heat. So the fan not speeding up isn't quite enough in my mind. Jim, if it was a heat problem, I expect the entire machine to shut down. I could be wrong. Depends upon how much heat. Now, that computer that was overheating, the one that was melting, it would show the power light, but it would not boot up, and then it actually powered off. So it was doing that, but that was a severe overheating, not just thermal throttling. So needs, I think he was doing a typo there. Not overheating as fan needs speed up. I don't know where you're giving a typo correction to there. See, what you could do to, if you're trying to correct a word there, is triple click on that, Control C, come down, Control V, paste, and then do your typo correction wherever your correction needs to be. That would be a whole lot more helpful because I don't know what you're trying to say there. For those debugging situations, setting an unattended remote is so helpful indeed. Yes. Sells a whole lot. I've had times when client says the monitor's blank. They tell me the computer's off. I say, no, it's not. I can connect remotely to it. And I connect and I can do everything with it. And they walk around to the back and say, oh, it was unplugged. No, just kidding. Things like that have happened. Greg M., I've seen laptop where chipset had issues with the solder balls under the chip, losing contact with the motherboard. It would cause loss of video. Fascinating that you're working with it at that level. I think you've told us that before. Chipset, not the CPU. The chipset had issues with solder balls under the chip, not the CPU, but other chips, losing contact with the motherboard. Martin, need to help wife back soon. Okay. Oh, that's what he's trying to say up here. It wasn't a typo at all. All right, understood, Martin. So maybe we stop talking about you. Let us know when you're back. He's probably not there now, unless he paused the video. The fan does not send out pulses to tell my arms that the fan is working. Computer's not going to start. I'm just throwing that out there. This whole subject is getting to be frustrated. This is normal troubleshooting. Doman to Martin. I would try to roll back display driver. Reasonable. Or use the one provided by Lenovo to test. Well, another thing is starting safe. Well, he's not here yet, though. I don't know how he's gonna, when he's gonna come back, or if he's gonna, if he paused the video and gonna catch up. But I want to suggest to start with minimum drivers and see if you have this, still have the symptom. And I don't know if we know that whether it's Windows 10 or Windows 11. Or use the one provided by Lenovo to test. Also, turn off quick, fast startup and set your PC to shut down at pressing power button. Yeah, those are good. Certain Lenovo IdeaPad models, especially IdeaPad Gaming, had documented issues with VGA. BGA? Maybe it's board graphics adapter. I don't know. Solder joint failures. If that's the issue, game over. Nightmare to fix, unless you have somebody who can do that work. I don't know what John's getting at there.
Read chat, please.
See, there's a read chat. Okay, it shows up here. It isn't in OBS yet. There, it just came in OBS. Ball grid array. That's what BGA is. All right. If you haven't seen it, the under when the chips are soldered to a motherboard, if you take the chip off, it's just solder balls. So they use flux and they use heat and the balls will automatically roll up in a ball on each of the conductors. And then you can put the chip down in place and do some more heat gun on it, and the solder just tends to collect right around where it's supposed to. It's really kind of a fascinating thing, and I'm not doing the process justice at all, but the ball grid array is you have rows and columns of solder balls, and you attach the chip to those. With ongoing issues like this, first thing I would do is start with a clean install. Wow! You go with the most time-consuming nuclear option first. Wow. That's like saying my tire looks a little soft, so you go buy a new car. Yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but no, I wouldn't do that as a first thing. Backup image, that takes time to do. Why not do the other quicker, easier things first? And then if it works, if you do a fresh install, the only thing that tells you is it's not a hardware problem. Well, what about once you install your other software and drivers and such and are pressed? Well, he's not pressing the hardware. He says this happens right when he starts it. Yeah, so a backup image, fresh install. You don't even need to do updates. But let's suppose without updates, it does not die. And then he does the updates, then it dies. He has the symptom back. So is that a hardware problem or a software driver problem? You could argue that either way. You know, somebody might say it's a driver's problem because you just installed all the most current drivers and one of those drivers is causing this problem. Or you could say these drivers are making more demands upon the display and it has a hardware problem, therefore it goes bad. So does a fresh install really get you to a solution? It could be either way. Greg M says it sounds like hardware. What hardware? Not the monitor, not the display, because it happens on external device. So the graphics hardware seems likely. Okay, now let's go a little bit further with Doman's comment. If he does a fresh install or even restore a 6-month-old image, if you have one, if it functions fine, then that kind of steers you away from a hardware problem, but doesn't really prove it. It just maybe takes you one step further down the path. But I still wouldn't start with that. I mean, I'd start with the Shift Control Windows B. Why not try that before clean install? You're saying first thing you would do is a clean install. Really? Would you have tried an external monitor? Maybe you're saying the next thing you would do after everything that's been done so far. But then that's not the first thing. No, we're not going to do a chalkboard, lawn dog. Duh. You want to go through every step of the way? No, we're throwing out tips. We're throwing out pointers. Martin can pursue things on his own. We don't have to pursue each little step ourselves. We're not going to remotely control his body. Can be time consuming. Depends upon how long it takes to get to the right solution. How old is the device? We don't know yet. And what is that going to tell you, Daniel? As I posted earlier, solder issues with the chip. Okay, what can we do with that now? Did anyone give an idea, pad model, and age? No? Yeah, safe mode. Yeah, that I think that's of interest. So assuming, of course, one already tried several things. So far, yes, agree. So yeah, when he said first thing he would do, I think it was Doman that was saying first thing. Really meant the next thing. CPU coming loose from the ball gunk adapter. I don't know. Ball, whatever that was. Dumb luck, the pins for the iGPU are what's failing. Safe mode, good idea. Linux. Time of use of wear and LED screen. Yeah, I understand that. That's why you're asking how old it is. But what are we going to do about that?
Read chat, please.
If he says it's 3 years old, are you going to say, but the LED screen is the built-in display. He has the same problem with the external. So no, that doesn't, but even time and wear of use on the computer itself. I've had computers last 20 years. What's your cutoff point? Is it 4 years in one day? So I'm not a big fan of being worried about how old it is. Oh, here he's back. Okay, Martin, welcome back, and sympathies to your wife, for you and your wife. David, I can't summarize everything that's happened in the half hour for you. I doubt that anyone else is going to either. That's why it's recorded. So, Martin, one of the most significant things I think we've come up with is Windows key ms config. And then now we don't know if you're Windows 10 or Windows 11. Go to Diagnostic Startup, load basic devices and services only. I think this, I'm not sure if this looks the same for Windows 10 or not. I think that's the only thing there. And see if it'll stay on. The monitor stays on. Now, something else, something I did with that overheating computer from last week is I turned it on and hit the hotkeys to get into BIOS. Excuse me. And to see if it would stay on. And I was shocked to find out it wouldn't stay on even in BIOS. So I knew it wasn't a Windows issue. So start up the computer, go straight into BIOS, let it sit for an hour or two, see if the display stays on. If it does not, then you know there's a hardware problem. Absolutely, because Windows isn't involved. That's very quick and easy to do.
Read chat, please.
You don't have to reinstall Windows to do that. It's not as demanding on the graphics though. So if the display turns off, that is useful information. If the display does not turn off, that was not useful because that doesn't say the hardware is fine. The last chat. Yes, power button set to shut down. Did this when worked. Okay, but earlier you said you hold down the power button when it's not plugged in to get it to turn back on. That means when you press the power button, it is not accomplishing a proper shutdown. I think what you're implying by your previous description is the screen's off. Maybe you had to hold the power button down with it unplugged from power before you could get it to turn back on because you weren't getting a proper shutdown. So that was causing a deeper reset of the hardware. If you're doing a proper shutdown, you should not have to disconnect power and hold the power button down. If you are, then there is something else going on at a hardware level, I think. But when the screen goes dark, if your power button is configured to shut down, you should be able to just press and release the power button, wait for maybe a couple minutes, and it should shut down. And the power light would go out. So we'd like to know that. Martin, while you were away, people are asking, how old is this computer? Can you answer that for us? Can you give us make and model? I think you already did. I think I copied it. Lenovo IdeaPad 3. Yes, he did tell us that. Marsman says, I had similar laptop display issues. I replaced CMOS battery, have had no display issues since. I have come across where a CMOS battery can, on a laptop in particular, and all-in-one computers, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens on desktops also, that CMOS batteries can cause issues that you would not have suspected, because we want to think the main purpose of the CMOS is, remember, your BIOS setup settings and your date and time, your drive configurations and stuff like that. But I have come across some computers that will not start up if the BIOS battery is defective, even if they're plugged into power. And that all-in-one video that I show how to replace the CMOS battery, the specific problem with that is they will not power on if the CMOS battery is bad. All-in-one computers are simply repackaged laptop parts. Substantially, yes. I'm not quite convinced because I've seen some daughter boards in all-in-one computers. Yeah, I know some laptops have daughter boards also. They're very similar, but and I don't think those motherboards are completely interchangeable with laptops. They're very similar. I would also question, well, not all laptops are the same as each other. Some of the innovations in laptops I don't think you'll find in all-in-ones because they aren't laptops. But it's a worthy point, in my opinion. Oh, all right, Doug. Take a break. Not really a break, just slow down. Jim says they use the same CPUs and GPUs. See, the problem I have with that kind of a blanket statement is there is no standards organization that puts requirements on computer manufacturers. Computer manufacturers aren't consistent from one model of their own computer to another. They do things different. So I really bristle at any attempt to say all of these do this a certain way. They commonly, I would accept that they commonly use the same laptop type CPUs and GPU. I bet you could find some exceptions to that. Oh, here we go. Battery fully charged. Fault appears on both AC power and on battery. Good information. Thank you. I have tried the video refresh that suggested no difference. We heard that before. Do you have all of the power management saving features disabled? So let's go. Now, is it Windows 10 or Windows 11? I don't think you've told us that. I'm going to personalize for Windows 11. And then background. No, I always bounce around a little bit to find this because they don't go straight into, oh, lock screen. I think that's my path currently. So screen timeout. Would like to verify like that you're on, oh, here it is. You have all these set to never. And I'd say both on plugged in and battery, have those set to never, for the troubleshooting purposes. You can also get to that with Windows key and then edit power. And for edit power plan, set these to never here. Change advanced power settings. I don't think there's anything else you need to deal with in here because you're going to find the same. This is the same settings you're doing here. Right click on the Windows button and then choose Device Manager. That menu showed up on my other monitor, so you didn't see the context menu. Go to Display Adapters, right click, Properties, see if there's a power tab. If there's a power tab on here, then look for a check mark that you don't want to allow the computer to turn off the device. Go to monitors. Same thing, look for a power tab. I don't know if there's ever a power tab for those options. I don't make any attempt to memorize that kind of detail. And it's never going to be, I can never trust it to be consistent from one computer to another. When did the problem start, Martin? Was there, oh, I hate to ask if it was after one of those after that special time of the month. Don't want to bring up that subject. Yeah, I think Delman, is this first gen Dell 6410? Still works fine. Oh, with last release, 25H2. So he went into the, that's I think Insiders, isn't it? 25H2. Windows 11, and yes, power settings set to never, power options set to never. Good. So a first gen Dell 6410, I don't know how many years old that is or what gen that is. Is that a sixth gen? So he's forced Windows 11 onto it and even 25H2 and it's working. Oh, first gen. Jim's telling us that 6410 is a first gen. Still miss, maybe if it's confirmed the laptop not locking up during the black screen. I don't think we have confirmed that. I have seen the CPU lock up where it's not responding to mouse clicks or keyboard, but yet caps lock and num lock and scroll lock still work. That reaction of those keys, that has nothing to do with Windows. You can verify that because when you turn the computer on before Windows even starts, you can press those keys and the lights will go on and off. Now the computer is interacting with the keyboard, but that's not Windows interacting with the keyboard. So seeing those lights go on and off does not tell you that the computer's not locked up. It could be locked up. Using the keyboard method to shut down your computer. Martin, I don't know if you were here for that, but that was write down the keyboard keystrokes for shutting down your keyboard.
Read chat, please.
And test the keystrokes while your monitor is visible to see if you're right. So on mine, it's Windows key and then Shift Tab twice gets me to the power button down the bottom right. And then Enter presses the power button,
Read chat, please.
down arrow 3 times, and then Enter on shutdown. Then there'll be some other key presses, but write down those key presses and test them when you can see the screen to make sure you got the keystrokes right for shutting it down. Then when your screen goes black, see if you can shut the computer down. You will judge that it was successfully shut down when you see the fan stop. Couple read chats, 2 or 3? 2 it looks like. But I got to know if there was more Martin Hogg comments in there. No. So those read chats. I check if the computer responds to pings. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. That would be similar to connecting remotely to it. I don't think the network card itself can respond to pings. I think that has to happen from the operating system. If the network card itself was able to respond to ping, the operating system could still be locked up, but I don't know that piece. Wait, Jim waiting for his mouse to recharge. Have you gone back to? No, I haven't. I think I could do that now because I'm kind of caught up with Martin. So 10.1, that's still, if you would actually copy, highlight something that's on the page, Control C, and come and paste it in chat. Why does it feel like I'm having to pull teeth to get that kind of useful direction from you? So you're going to make me go to that and go find it. I got to go back to your old comment and figure out what you're searching for because you assume that I remember it and I don't. Come on, just highlight something, Control C, copy, go paste that into chat. I'm going to make you do it. I'm not going to go trying to find that place again. Come on. That's not a copy paste right there. I got to harp on that. I got to teach you guys how to make this. It stresses me out. Seriously. And I keep having to figure out this stuff. And I think you guys are on some other conversation. I'm not going to try to figure that out. He's busy doing, I don't know if you're referring to me.
Read chat, please.
Compatibility issues. Ah, all right. You did it. You did. I'm giving you points just for that. I kind of got on your case about that. And you gave me what I asked for. I'm giving you points just for that. I didn't copy the whole thing because I don't need to do the whole thing. That should be enough. 0 hits. Am I not on the right place? How is there 0 hits? Oh, because that's not a copy and paste. Look, there's no space there. That's not likely the way it is. Did you actually type it out or did you copy and paste? Yeah. See, well, maybe you copied multiple paragraphs. That doesn't work with the find command. Yeah, you could have done it with copying these. Don't cross paragraph boundaries for doing that. Doesn't work well.
Read chat, please.
Doug, you get so worked up over this. I know, I got to stop doing that.
Read chat, please.
It's not good for my health. Zvi Menor's got a link. I don't know if it's regarding this topic. Randy Israel's got another topic. Okay, I'm going to stick with this for now. And this was.
Yes, affirmative.
Zvi, I think he's saying yes, affirmative. I'm guessing he means it's on this topic. See, exclamation mark Y on this topic would have told me that. I imagine you get irritated at me saying those things, but it makes a difference. Affected Intel SST. This is what he wants me to look at. Windows 11, and this was a year ago. Devices with the affected Intel SSD driver might receive an error with a blue screen. All right. Why do you want to bring my attention to that? Have you told me that? You start out with a link to removed and unresolved issues. This was confirmed. This is back. Let's see. Okay, so this is Windows 11 24. This is as of September. Oh, okay. You're saying it's still unresolved, maybe. originating update, that was not applicable. The status is it's confirmed, so it's not resolved. These others are resolved. So are you just complaining that it's not resolved? Is that why you're bringing my attention to it? Are you actually having this problem? Are you just trying to, point a finger at Microsoft saying all this time and they haven't fixed it? Why are you bringing this to my attention? Might receive an error with a blue screen. Okay, yeah. That's not a problem we're dealing with right now. So why should we care? There are some issues that Microsoft might choose to not resolve. That can happen. John Downey says, hey, everyone, just listening, working on legal issues in information security class. Oh, they not only have 3-letter acronyms, there are 4, 5, and 6-letter acronyms. Yeah, that's a thing. Okay, I think I'm going to move on to the other topics. Things of Ease was first, wasn't it? Oh, he retracted. Brace yourself. Oh boy. Right click, new tab. Windows Management Instrumentation, WMIC removal from Windows. Ew. Published September 12th. I use the Mickey Mouse command. I probably am the only person who refers it to as the Mickey Mouse command.
Please.
Because WMICKEY, that's how I memorized it. MOUSE. Oh, I will come back to Parker's comment in a moment. The Windows Management Information Control is progressing toward next phase removal. Will be removed when upgrading to 25H2. All later releases will not include WMIC by default. All later releases for Windows 11 will not include WMIC added by default. Okay, we could still get it, just not going to be included by default. A new installation of Windows 11 24H2 already has WMIC removed by default for a new installation. Okay, they haven't uninstalled it for existing installations. It's only installable as an optional feature. Okay, so Windows key R appwiz.cpl. If you do a fresh install, you'd have to go over here and to turn Windows features on, go down to WMIC and put a check mark for it. I don't have that here because this was a previously existing installation, right? I don't have it. Yeah, nothing there, WMIC. I mean, it could have been added to this list, even though it hasn't been taken away from my computer. Importantly, only the WMIC tool is being removed. The WMI itself remains part of Windows. All right. Windows Management Instrumentation remains a part of Windows. Microsoft, the command line is what's being removed. Microsoft recommends using PowerShell and other modern tools for any task previously done with WMIC. Isn't that a nothing burger? So you can't do it from a DOS command prompt. You're going to have to access those functions from PowerShell. This change will streamline Windows by removing outdated component without losing any management capabilities. By preparing now, you can help ensure a smooth transition. Yeah, that's a nothing burger. Not worried about it. It's good information, helpful information, so I'm glad to have it. And that was ran. So
Read
I'll
chat,
call that
please.
useful information, not amazing. That's why I said get used to PowerShell earlier in the stream. Yeah, I'm on board with getting better at PowerShell. I was interested in it when I first became aware of it, but then just didn't hold my attention long enough because I didn't have to use it. I still kind of lean towards command line. In fact, when I was developing that script for the mapping network drives, I started out asking the AI for some comparisons about why should I do this in PowerShell instead of command prompt, and it came up with reasonable alternatives, reasonable reasons. Overuse of the word reason. Can I show you that earlier question? Which one of these? Oh, that's the weird thing about using Copilot from Edge is it's not a separate window. Like even if I go to my other tabs, that Copilot is still taking up most of the screen. It's not its own window.
Read chat, please.
I got to take this off screen to show it, but I think it was the beginning of that. Oh, here's another thing. There's no, in this Copilot from Edge, oh, there it is finally. The scroll bar wasn't there. That's why I was trying to go back and show you, but I guess once I moved the mouse to the right location, it showed up. Um, oh, man. Okay, so here's another weird thing. Got to get to a sanitized location. See, I've scrolled up a few times, and when I pull that scroll
Red
scroll
chat,
box
please.
all the way to the top, it brings in more content in the past on this chat. And see how much smaller that scroll box is than when I last showed it? Because every time it brings in more content, it gets smaller. So I drag that up to the top again, and it tries to read in more information. I have to take it off screen when I do that because there's some client specific stuff in this chat. Now I got up to the top, and that clearly was not the beginning. Oh, here's the beginning. So here's my original prompt. This is my original question. So you can't do this on a Google search, right? I know there's a read chat or two for me to get to. And I'm just going to try to get to that question about command prompt versus PowerShell. Because I think it was in here. So I'm just looking at my follow-up prompts to it, scrolling through the others. Here. Yeah. So here asks, would either PowerShell or batch version be faster in execution than the other or more transparent to the end user? And what it did in response is it gave me this chart comparing batch file method, PowerShell method, central logging, error handling, transparent to the users, execution speed, ease of editing later, startup folder compatibility, cross-user deployment. Based upon all that, I wound up going with PowerShell. All right. Oh, see how tiny that is now? I'm just going to rip through that, go all the way to the top, all the way down here to the bottom. There's a lot of content in there. And that's just one of my chats and one of my AIs. Okay, there's Martin. I think that's the, oh, no, Rand Israel. I'm going up to look at previous exclamation C's. Okay, yeah, I saw that one. So, first hint on the house, WMIC BIOS, he means don't give him points. That's why he's saying on the house. WMIC BIOS get serial number. Yeah, that's one that I like to use, is get sim instance. Win32 BIOS is how you get serial number. Sim, CIM. Trying to translate what that stands for. I might demonstrate that here in a moment, but let's see what Martin's got. If I drain all power by pressing power button for 40, 50 seconds, it will start successfully until the next
Read
episode.
chat, please.
Yeah, I understood that from you earlier. It seems to me, I see that, Rand. There was something you said earlier. Yeah, this part about the PC definitely on. I'm not convinced of that. The power light might be on, but the computer could be locked up. Do we want to say that it's on? If the CPU has locked up, could it be locking up at a point where it's unable to send any signal out through the video? So my description of using the keyboard to shut the computer down, or maybe pinging the computer from another computer, or setting up an unattended remote connection to see if you can connect remotely to it while the monitors are not displaying. This part about holding the power button down, what that's telling me is that you're getting a full reset at a hardware level. On laptop computers in particular, I've had this happen many times for network adapters. Network adapters can still function when the computer is turned off. How am I going to say that right? Particularly if, did we ask fast shutdown yet? Did you answer whether you have fast startup enabled? Have you disabled hibernation? I don't think we know that. But when a computer locks up, holding down the power button forces it off at a hardware level so that when you turn it on, it reinitializes all of the hardware. Windows does not do that when you do a restart or when you do a cold power on. Getting rid of, I still got that battery there. Oh, I know. Here's a place to demonstrate. I've had times when a laptop in particular would not turn on. Disconnect the power. Hold the power button down to force it off if it's still on, and remove the battery when you have a battery that's easily removable. That gets rid of all the power except for the CMOS chip. And then put the battery back in, optionally connect the power and turn it on. And I've had that restore computers to functional. I've also come across laptops that have a hardware reset access hole, kind of like a SIM card eject button. I haven't seen many of them with that, but I have seen that. That actually might be doing a BIOS reset. When I've had that solve problems of computer not turning on.
Read chat, please.
Now watching OBS for that, there, it just came up. So you saw this read chat on my screen before SpeakerBot, and OBS was still later than that. Some network adapters such as Intel Killer, oh, nightmare, implement parts of TCP/IP in hardware, but that's the exception, not the norm. Thanks for trying to help. Why is it always frustrating to me when he says that? We may have given you the solution. You just haven't done everything that we've suggested. Thanks for trying to help. Numlock and caps lock function normally. That doesn't mean that Windows is still operational. Windows could be locked up. The CPU could be locked up. Caps lock and numlock can interact with the computer. I want to say at a BIOS level, you know that because it's functional before Windows even loads. In power options, I have set to never for power and battery. Battery is not easily removed without strip down. So you still haven't told us about fast startup. So let's do this control panel. Yeah, Windows key R. Because this is not accessible natively through Windows 11. And then go to power options. And then go to choose what the power buttons do. And then right in here, this option for fast startup. We want to know that check mark is removed. And preferably turn off hibernate. Now these buttons are grayed out. I can't select any of them now, or I can't unselect them. Well, you got to click this button up here. It says, or this link that says change settings that are currently unavailable. When I click on that, then these become available. So that's where you can remove fast startup if it's on there. You can remove hibernate and then save changes. Now, additionally, even better is go to command prompt, run as administrator, and then power CFG, I think that's right, -H, is that right? I'm doing that from memory. Enter invalid parameters, but that is the valid command. So /? Power config, hibernate, /H, enables, disables. So is it
read chat, please?
/H? Do I need a minus sign? hibernate /H. Oh, I know it. Do the /H help. I do it. Yeah, on off. /H off. That was it. Yeah, so that did it. There's no objection there. Then what happens if you go back into this, choose what the power buttons do? Well, maybe you have to restart first, but the hibernate option would not even be listed, wouldn't be in that list. Okay, now I got some read chats to do. Oh, he's giving me the answer. Yeah, sometimes, Rand, I choose not to go look because sometimes people are just pulling me a different direction, and then I lose track. If I read something else that's not on point, then they just are. It's difficult to stay on track. Parker Morse, the last month's video is this video link. Oh, Parker, yeah. You know what? I don't think I saw his message come up. I was asking him, why are you bringing this up? And I said I was gonna come back to it. He says, this was the issue I had last month when I commented on one of your videos. Are you kidding me? You think that giving that link, I was going to put that 2 and 2 together, that, oh, this is related to a comment that he made a month ago? Or even if you made the comment this morning. No, I can't put that 2 and 2 together. Come on. Asking way too much of me. So he's giving me a link to my video last month to show that's where his comment is. All right, so let's go look at that for his to see what his comment was. Oops, I gotta get rid of Copilot. You don't need to watch the video. Bring this back on screen. Let's pause that. Go find comments. Make this normal size. Parker. Just an FYI, there's a sound driver problem with the latest Windows 11 update. But that was almost a year ago. That known issue. If the particular computer that you or a viewer is dealing with is an HP Pavilion that has the Intel SSD sound driver, I would recommend using the AVG driver updater because that's the only driver for sale that would need to be updated. For sale? The other one would be the display audio driver that needs to be updated. Here's the error I was getting before I fixed it today. I fixed it today with help from another technician, the AVG data updriver. Why not get the driver from the source? Not a third-party updater? Okay, so you're explaining to me why you brought that up. That would have been helpful if you would have led with that. Hey, Doug, regarding the issue I made a comment about in last month's video. Yeah, Doug's harping on us, telling him what we mean. Really? Is that hard? Is that hard to understand? All right. We've got that from Rand, got that from Parker, then Martin. Next time I can see the screen, I'll try fast startup suggestion. Sometimes when fully booted and working all functions, it will suddenly go blank. Now, Martin, did you see the part about msconfig? You're not saying you're going to try that. msconfig to use diagnostic startup, so loads basic drivers and services only. And if it doesn't have the problem then that's telling you there's something driver related or software related that's causing the trouble.
Read chat, please.
I don't see that he needs to remove his battery, does he? He's not draining the battery down to nothing. Or was he? I don't think he was draining the battery down to nothing. He's just holding the power button to drain the capacitors down. Isn't that what he's doing? Zivi wouldn't offer that if that was the case. Let's drain all the power. That's just draining the power from the capacitors. I didn't see anything about draining the battery down to nothing. I don't think that's what he's doing. No, just because he says it's fully charged here, that doesn't mean that that's what he's doing by draining the power. I don't see any reason for him to be disconnecting the battery. Oh my gosh, it's overtime. I was just looking at the clock to see how much longer do I have to go. Chris Garrett says the read chat was me. Oh. You're not getting points for that, Chris. That is an abuse, Chris. Chris, that's an abuse of read chat. Read chat needs to be on topic, contributing to the conversation, not being the kid in the back of the room that's trying to give the teacher a hard time.
Read chat, please.
That only works for desktops with PSU unplugged. For a laptop with battery still connected, I don't think capacitors are drained. No, but what it will do is force the computer completely off. Sometimes the computer won't shut down. So holding the power button will force it off, but it's not draining capacitors. You're right. I think. Yeah, I think you're right on that. And the only reason we drain capacitors to get a full hardware restart. And to be sure there's no power in the motherboard when we're taking it apart, working on it. On a laptop, we disconnect the battery for that purpose. I'd have to agree with that. That holding down the power button really isn't draining power out of capacitors. All right, I got to shut down. Martin, I would hope that you would go back and rewatch the video, because I think there's many things that we said in here that you did not respond to. I don't know if you weren't watching at the time, you're distracted with something else, but yeah, I suggest you go back unless you find something useful. All right. That'll do it for me. I'm out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody. I will catch you later. Goodbye.
That's all, folks.
Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community. helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team. For Windows support and more than you've dreamed. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. At LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts or simply where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team. For Windows support and more than you've dreamed. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. At LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts or simply more deeply VB, where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme.